marrow irradiation, what we have done at Apollo hospitals. This was a 35-year-old Omani nurse, mother of 2 children. She presented with symptoms of fatigue and some bleeding episodes for the last few months of 2018. Initially, she took it light, and since she was busy with the family and working, finally January she goes to the hospital for a checkup. At that time, her WBC count was 1,100,000. The normal WBC count is 4,000 to 11,000. At Oman, after a complete diagnostic evaluation, a final diagnosis of chronic myeloid leukemia was made. That is a type of blood cancer, and this particular type of blood cancer has 3 stages, and she was at the last stage. There in Oman, she received 2 cycles of chemotherapy, and after that, the bone marrow examination revealed that she is in complete remission, meaning she is normal. Then she was referred to us into April of this year, and since bone marrow transplant is the only curative procedure in CML patients with blast crisis. Now, what I'm trying to show here, if you look at the far right, I said CML has 3 phases. If the patient goes into the 3rd phase, the life is only like 3 to 9 months in the past, but currently maximum they can live only like 6 months to 1 year if they are not transplanted. That's why she was referred to us. So she comes to us in April 2019. We did all the workup for a bone marrow transplantation. Everything was satisfactory. Normally, such patients, what all the centers in the world do is they give total body irradiation and chemotherapy. The whole idea of irradiating and giving chemotherapy prior to a transplant is to kill, if at all, if there are any leukemic cells, create space in the bone marrow and cause immunosuppression so that the infused stem cells are taken up by the patient. So there are some disadvantages of total body irradiation. It can cause other normal organ damages. For example, when you irradiate the whole body, the eyes can get damaged, they can get cataract, the thyroid can get damaged, the lungs could get damaged in the long run, the heart, the intestine, kidneys, ovaries, and so forth. And we were very fortunate. By this time the Proton Center came up, and with our experts at the Proton Center, we discussed and decided that we will do the total marrow irradiation. So this is this particular patient's planning. As you can see, only the bone would be irradiated, and we could add on other sites that is required. For example, if the sanctuary sites where these leukemic cells could hide, for example, brain and so forth, could be added on. So this particular patient underwent a total marrow irradiation. She had 3 days of total marrow irradiation, followed by 2 days of high-dose chemotherapy, and underwent the transplant on April 23rd, and she was our 1278th patient at our center for a bone marrow transplant. During the she had mild nausea and epigastric pain, which were controlled with some medications, and her bone marrow recovered on the 10th day, and now she is eating normally, walking around normally. You will be able to see her a bit later after these presentation, and she is all set to go back to Oman, and her donor was her own brother, who was a 6x6 matched donor. This is the first patient to undergo this type of irradiation, known as a total marrow irradiation. The other term is organ sparing marrow irradiation, OSMI, but TMI is easier to recall and say. And as far as I know, we are the first people in India to do this. And if my memory and my homework is correct, we are the third country in the world to do this after US, Italy, and to do this type of procedure. This is my last slide. Let these small steps lead to better quality of life and minimize late effects for long-term survivors of cancer. Thank you.
Respected Chairman, Vice Chairperson, Dr. Bhama, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen of the media. It's indeed an honor and pleasure. My name is Dr. Srinivas Chilukuri. I'm a senior consultant in radiation oncology, and as per the chairman's vision, as I just spoke to him, he wants only the world's best. This is what every time I meet him, he says only thing to me is he wants the world's best care, world's best treatment to be given to every patient who comes and walks through the door of Apollo hospitals anywhere in the country. So going by his mission and his vision and inspiring way of life, we could contemplate this for the first time in the country. And ladies and gentlemen, fortunately we had a extremely cooperative patient. You will meet her in some time. She was extremely knowledgeable. When we started counseling her for a new procedure, she was not like any average patient because she was a nurse. So she understood a lot of medical terminologies and she could easily understand why we want to do it, and she was extremely enthusiastic and extremely cooperative throughout the procedure. And we could achieve this only because of her, and we would like to thank her from the bottom of my heart that it is because of her we could accomplish this. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you in brief, in just next 5 minutes, why do we ablate bone marrow in the first place? As Dr. Jose already mentioned, when we are giving a donor bone marrow to a recipient bone marrow, normally it gets rejected because of the body's immunity. And by irradiating the bone marrow, we are irradiating the immune cells, and thereby we are suppressing the immunity, which we call as immune suppression. Also, the another reason why we irradiate is we want to irradiate the residual tumor cells. Fortunately, they are extremely radiosensitive. That means slightly lower doses compared to what we give in other solid cancers can eradicate all the tumor cells in the entire body. So there have been multiple studies in the last several decades. People like Dr. Jose, who have been pioneering bone marrow transplants, they have seen in their experience that whenever during the preparation you include radiation, you have better outcomes. If you exclude total body irradiation, we had inferior outcomes. But everyone realized that when we do total body radiation, what is actually the target is bone marrow, not the viscera, not the kidneys, not brain, not bones, not lungs, not liver, not other structures. But it is essentially a collateral damage. We were unable to give radiation only to bone marrow and not to rest of the structures. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, it has never ever happened in anywhere else in the world or anywhere else in the world till last few years. When we say total body radiation, we essentially give total body. There is no exception. So every inch of the body will receive exactly the same dose of radiation as the leukemic cells or the bone marrow. So there are certain effects of total bone marrow. As I said, it is mandatory, so it is kind of a collateral damage we see. There are certain acute side effects, that is during the procedure and immediately after the procedure, like nausea, vomiting, headache, oral mucositis, that is ulcers, diarrhea, loss of appetite, extreme dark skin pigmentation, lot of fatigue, which significantly stays for several weeks for the patient. And we are not more worried about these acute effects, but late effects, which come and do not go. The acute effects come and go, but the late effects come and do not go. These are cataracts, learning and memory deficits, endocrine dysfunction, hypothyroidism, cardiovascular issues, metabolic syndrome, hypertension, diabetes. All these are significant late effects. Lung inflammation, liver inflammation, nephritis, chronic irritable bowel, enteritis, sexual dysfunction, second cancers. These are all huge set of burden the patient has to carry once the total body radiation is done. Then people have realized, and mainly one of the hospitals in California, City of Hope, has pioneered this technique a few years ago, and very few could actually replicate this, and fortunately we were able to replicate with all of our technical staff, the physics, the clinical team, we sat together. We had multiple conferences with Dr. Jose regarding the medications, pre-medications, what to irradiate, how to irradiate, the logistics. In fact, we chose, the entire staff did not take a holiday. We all worked on a public holiday, on a Good Friday, so that we could reduce the exposure to the patient from other patients who also visit the hospital. And we treated this patient actually on a public holiday over the 3 days, over a long weekend. And here you see that the dose is actually delivered only to the bone marrow and not to any other visceral organs. Visceral organs receive very, very minimal doses, thereby sparing the function of these organs. So the benefits of TMI essentially are, we have avoided oral mucositis and several endocrine dysfunction, pericarditis, cardiovascular syndrome, pneumonitis, colitis, nephritis. All these complications have been avoided completely in this particular patient because we could achieve total marrow irradiation. And a huge amount of work, a huge amount of man hours was spent for quality assurance, probably more than 40 hours by our physics team, and to elucidate that and more, Dr. Dayananda, who's our head of medical physics, will actually talk briefly about it as well. So we are extremely proud that I'm part of this mega project of modern contemporary 3 proton rooms with advanced diagnostic facilities, not just in radiation oncology, but the rest of the hospital also, as Dr. Jalali mentioned, that we have extremely advanced pathology, molecular diagnostics, we have a first digital PET CT, and we have entire gamut of whatever advances you see in anywhere else in the world are available with us, with medical oncology and surgical oncology departments as well. I really thank all of you for coming here, and I really wish the patient all the best and healthy life ahead of her, her family life with her 2 children and her profession. She's very ambitious. I hope she gets back to her profession, and I wish all the best from all of us. Thank you.
Respected Chairman, respected VC, and Dr. Jalali, Dr. Bama, and all my colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen from the press. So I think my previous 2 speakers have explained very nicely why we need total marrow irradiations, what are the clinical benefits, and in which subset of patients we need to do this kind of procedures. But when our clinical team approached to us for this kind of procedures, I think we wanted to pick up these particular challenges, and we started, as Dr. Srinivas mentioned, we started gathering all the information from across the world who has been pioneer in this particular procedures, and each member of the team started putting their thoughts, ideas, and we gathered all those ideas, and we decided to go ahead with this kind of procedures. So in these 5 minutes, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share you how we did this particular procedures at APCC. Okay, so this is how we used to treat total body irradiation. You can see from this picture itself that I think so the patient is already weak, and he has to stand in this dedicated TBI stands for quite long of time to complete his treatment. And this is quite exhaustive, and because of these natures, what happens is that during the time of treatment itself, sometimes we have to interrupt the treatment, we have to give rest to the patients, and then again continue the treatment. So this is some sort of discomfort to the patients beside being irradiated the entire body. So then when we go for TBI, TMI, which is very selective irradiations of the marrow, then I think first of all we have to think about the patient comfort. At the same time, since we are going to treat the patients on daily basis, twice in a day and 3 days in a week, then we have to think about the reproducibility of the patient positions during the treatment. So to ensure all this, we have to fabricate this kind of customized immobilization devices for the patient. So you can see in this impression itself that we capture all the contours, body contours of the patients in this backlog, and we can position the patients, and after that we do a whole body CT scan. Once we acquire the whole body CT scan, then what we do is that we transfer all these images to a giant computer, very super fast computers, which runs with a very high speed, which is a graphical GPU based system, which we call it as treatment planning system. So the treatment planning systems, basically what we do is it contains all the information of your treatment delivery machine. So it behaves as a virtual machine to us. And at the same time, once all these data are transferred to this treatment planning system, then the radiation oncologists delineate the bone marrow, and they also delineate the critical organ. Then it becomes a virtual patient to us. To a medical physicist, so I have a virtual machine and I have a virtual patient, and using all the algorithms what we have in this particular computer, so we try to deliver the therapeutic dose to the tumor or to all the bone marrows while respecting the critical organ. So we run a lot of optimization, but this particular case is very different than what we used to do in the routine clinical practice, because here we have to irradiate the entire body. Of course, I think sparing the other normal tissues, so we have to irradiate the entire entire bone marrow. So we ran a series of optimizations, which takes a lot of time. So we ran a series of optimizations till we achieve our goal, and we have set our goal in comparison to any other pioneer centers in the world. So we try to reduce the dose. You can see over here. So we are reducing the dose critical organs, all the normal tissues, and we are irradiating we are protecting all the critical organ, normal tissues, irradiating only the marrows. So this is how we have achieved for these patients. So here, since we cannot create the plan for the entire body, what we do is that we create the plan in two ways. One is for the upper body and another one is for the lower body. So this is the treatment plan for the lower body. And once we have done that, then we go with a stitching, because the one plan is for the upper body, another plan is for the lower body. So you need to combine these dose distributions in order to create the dose distributions for the entire target. So this is the upper part, and another one is the lower part. So you combine together and you get the dose distributions for the entire volume. Similarly, so while doing so, I think we have to stitch them very perfectly. If you don't stitch them perfectly, then you will end up in creating a lots of dose heterogeneity within the junction. So we ensure that we stitch them with a very high accuracy by using a very the so-called we use an algorithm which is called the deformable image registrations to fuse these data sets, and we stitch them. Then after that we verify all the dosimetric parameters, whether they are within our expectations or our set goals or not. Once it is achieved, then we go for a pre-treatment quality assurance. So we have to ensure that whatever we have simulated in our treatment planning system is actually delivered on the machine or not. So we do a series of quality assurance before we actually take the patient from the treatment, and we verify the result. Once everything is satisfied, then we go ahead, we decide to go with the treatment. And before the treatment, again, we also do another sort of dosimetry, which is called the in vivo dosimetry. So during the time of treatment, whether the patient is receiving the dose what we intend to deliver or not. So for that, we use a lots of detectors which is pasted on the patient. And then once it is verified, then we took the patient, then we again treat the patients under the image guidance. So we took a MB Conbeam CT, then that we fuse it with our reference CT scan, and if at all some error is there, that error can be corrected in 5th dimension.
and once it is corrected, then we deliver the radiations to the patient. So this is the team whom we work, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jose, Dr. Srinivas, and Dr. Daya for giving us such detailed highlights of the case. Now I would like to request Ms. Preeta Reddy, Vice Chairperson of Apollo Hospitals Group, to share her thoughts.
Namaste. I must congratulate the team. You have really done us proud, and I'd like to thank the patient and their families for placing their trust in us. I think Apollo has come to the level of what it has only because the patients and their families have trusted us to provide them the best possible healthcare available. And Srinivas made that comment about our chairman, and he said for him, only the world's best is enough. But I'd like to promise all of you that India is a country which can go beyond the world's best. And I think that's what Apollo wants to do. That not only will we bring what is best in class, but we do it literally at 1/10 the cost. And when we do that, we do beyond what is world's best, because when you do not have the luxury of unlimited payment mechanisms, and you still deliver world class and world's best, you're actually better than the world's best. And this is what I personally feel about what Apollo does, the kind of work which is happening in Apollo, and I can promise you all that we will continue to do it. The Apollo Proton Cancer Centre has opened new frontiers in cancer care, and it is an extremely proud moment for us today. And to do this just a few months after the launch, and to see the APCC, as we call it, achieve this significant landmark, and to do 2 successful cases of the BMT, I think has been incredible in terms of clinical inputs, hard work, fantastic treatment planning from our physicist team, and the fact that the patients decided to come to us. So I think everything, they say that when the intent is great and when the intent is good, the stars align. And I think here the stars are our clinicians and the patients, and the fact that the whole that with our chairman and the board's direction, that we even managed to build a center of excellence in Madras, in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, which is the first in Southeast Asia, and which is no other center globally has achieved this kind of results in such a short time after its opening. So literally, again, I think we are the world's best. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone for being here today, for supporting the kind of work which Apollo does always over the past 36 years, and to commit to the fact that we will stop at nothing to see that we are beyond the world's best always. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, ma'am. It is always a delight to hear you. Now I would request our beloved chairman, Dr. Prathap C. Reddy, to come and share his thought, not just amongst us, but for around 3.5 billion people in the region.
I want to remind all of you, this team, this conference that we are having here, could have been in Texas, where MD Anderson is, or it could have been in Boston, where my old institution, Mass General, was, or in New York. It would be the same. It will attract the same attention from the media, and the people will say, what a great hospital. I'm happy that we have a very, very wonderful team. In a very short time, they made 2 total body radiations using this technology, which can make a very significant impact on patients. We know before, I still know one patient who is living 12, 14 years after the total body irradiation. His whole body is absolutely dark. He is on dialysis continuously. Now he has lung functions have been sacrificed because that was all that was available at that time. So thanks to whatever we have, but it's not what we have, it is the people that we are here. You know, the team, the doctors, the physicists, all of them working together. As I said on a Good Friday, you've done a good thing for the country and for the patient. God bless you all. And I just want to say that when we started this, the first day when I announced this 4 years ago, 5 years ago in the board was absolutely flattered. They were saying, what do you mean? You're going to put a proton for 1300 crores? So then they had no choice, accepted it. But then it took time. But finally it got opened, and when we had this international faculty, oncologists from around the world and the super specialists from around the world, when they came and our vice president inaugurated it, everyone who went and saw that hospital said, this is fabulous. I don't know if there is another hospital equivalent to this in technology, in the services, the staff that we have, and more importantly the whole way, the entire way that the way it is set. So I'm very proud. I want to congratulate everybody who has made this possible. But I think this team of doctors that we have, the best in the country, is now the very best in the world. That I'm very, very proud. I think they deserve a tremendous applause for this great work that they have done. But please remember, this is only the beginning. For Joe's, it's another number. It is 1300 plus bone marrows he has done. But this is very special for him because we have used total body irradiation and using a new technology with minimal side effect for the patient. So I think what we want then and today is the same. I said it's not putting up another hospital or giving a treatment for another patient, but we must say that within us, our conscience must be clear that at Apollo, he will get the best possible treatment that's available for him anywhere in the world. We have never ever sacrificed, starting from our first CT scan, whole body CT scan. I bought Siemens. Induja, Dr. Mehta, superintendent, used to continuously scold me, why do you waste 5 crores on one machine? Here we waste 1,200 crores for one machine. So that's not it. But our intention was very clear that out in India we should be able to do what the rest of the world can do and then give a lead to it. So just to recollect, 3 days ago, some of our doctors gave the various presentations in the national and international media. And I was so happy to see there are about 70 of them who made international paper presentations and publications. So this makes us feel proud that India is not at the back foot of healthcare, we are right up there. But we have huge problems, you know. This is where I think we are not stopping here, but we will do what is best, but we will continue to take a challenge on the health challenge that the country today has. The biggest challenge that we have is called the NCDs. We all know, I think I have told you before, the World Economic Forum said by 2020 it will be 80% of the deaths will be from NCDs. What are NCDs? Cancer, diabetes, heart problems, strokes and infections. And cancer plays a very big role because it's growing at the rate of 36%. I believe it is 36%, but really what we are seeing is probably it is crossed 40%. So I think it's one of the dreadful things amongst the things. But what I am happy is, 4 years ago when we had an international cancer congress, they all coined the word saying cancer is conquerable. But 3 months ago when they all assembled, they said cancer is curable. You know how it can be cured? Yes, we need all of these, you know, these wonderful doctors, great infrastructure, but most importantly we want you, media, to help people to come early. And if you come early, all cancers can be cured. I come from a small village, about 100 miles from here, but I always say near Tirupati, but it's midway between Chennai and Bangalore. Last 2 years, they did complete cancer screening, They found 14 people in stage 1, stage 2. All have been operated. So that means there is no cancer in that village and the 170 hamlets. So this is what I want you all to do, to bring the awareness to people so that we can control and escape from this huge tsunami of NCDs. Similarly, heart attacks. You published a month ago about the 15-year-old who went to the exam and died. Day before yesterday, a student who passed out from the American Institute of here went to joined Amazon. 4 months later, he went to a hospital dead. He had the pain. By the time he reached the hospital, he was absolutely dead. He was 21-year-old. So this is what's happening. Heart attacks used to happen before at 65, 70, but they are now occurring at this age. So this is a huge, heart problems are tremendous. Then of course, if you come to diabetes, in all the three we hold the gold medal. In cancer, in heart problems, strokes and infections we hold the gold medal. But the one which you don't have is China's property. China is the major capital of diabetes. But we are racing so fast that I am sure even that gold medal you will get. But let me tell you, I don't like those gold medals. I can throw it in Bay of Bengal or even go up, throw it into Indian Ocean. I can do it only with your support. If you inform people, please assess your state of health and follow the advice. All of these can be eliminated. So I hope by calling you for this important conference is not only to show that out in India we have the best oncology hospital in the country, but is able to do what the world, only some of the hospitals in the world are doing, but also to tell you that this is another major weapon that we are going to use to control this so-called NCDs. Thank you. Thank you all very much. But before that, I want to congratulate the team of doctors who have done this miraculous thing. But more importantly, I think that credibility all goes to the important patient. She has come all the way from Oman. We have great relationship with Oman. Whenever I go there, somebody from there comes to me, Dr. Reddy, we love in India, we love Apollo. So thank you, sister, for being here today. And I think I want to express saying we have such relationship with several countries. So we'll try to keep this going. My intention is that we should be able to give this advanced level of care for the entire world. So if this is possible, if the government of India and the public sector and the private sector act together to bring the best facilities, because we have people, we have the talent. With all of these, India could become the major global healthcare destination. God bless you.
And I would like to request Ms. Fatima and family to come here on the stage. Dr. Srinivas, Dr. Joseph, ma'am, Dr. Jalali.
Please give her a chance. Please give her a chance. She will say a few words.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Fatma, 36 years old. I'm mother for 2 kids. Actually, I am staff nurse and working in ER for 15 years. I neglected my health care for more than 7 months. I feel it very tiredness regarding simple things, but I neglected that time. After some time, it is started get bleeding and my life it started irritable. So now I'm planning to do some investigation. Actually, I do the CBC, which is only to facing if there is any abnormality. Within 3 hours, I received call from my doctor. It is leukocytosis. It has left me firstly in shock, but according to my beliefs, Allah, when He give you something, that is meaning you are strong and able to pass it. Just only be positive and look in the good direct way. After that, they are shifted me to Royal Hospital, which it is for hematology department, and they are do it for me bone marrow aspiration, and they get my diagnosis. That is, it is acute myeloid leukemia with the blastocyst cells, and it was in higher stage. So they are started for me firstly chemotherapy, higher dose chemotherapy. I received there once course chemotherapy, mentioned to 2 parts. But the doctor since beginning, he tell me this is not your treatment. Your treatment, it is only by bone marrow transplantation. So they are started quickly to find who is watching with me. Unfortunately, I am one sister with, but I am lucky I have 8 brothers. I get 3 matching from one of them, and one of them is more healthy, and they are selected him to be my donor. I thank my government because they are taking all payment and all costing to traveling me to Apollo Hospital and select the best hospital to treat cancer in India. I here arrived on 1st April. I am already admitted in Apollo Hospital. Since first day, I feel it is like my home. They are good family, they are respectful person, and they are positively. They are started with my initial investigation. Then we are shifted me to BMT unit, and they are doing the process. Before that process, actually, I received radiation therapy and chemotherapy. Actually, I know what is radiation therapy as I am a staff nurse. It is a very horrible situation for the patient. The patient, he cannot live normally like other person. He will be like deaf person walking. All the skin, it will be irritating, it will be redness, poor appetite, they will reduce their weight too much, and multiple complicated. But the doctor, he selected for me other thing, total bone marrow radiation, and he explained for me what is the benefit about it. And I am feeling that Allah, he loved me more because he gave me this chance to get it. So I go to Proton Center. There also, they are very lovely family and respectful people. They take care of me, and there are 2 patients with me. The process actually is going smoothly, needing only to be more positive and thinking positively. I hope each patient would see keep it his brain in positive point. If you have negative point, you will not do it anything. You will not successful. You will not reach it anything. Just only think in positive way. If you think in positive way, Allah, he will help you and he will guiding you, and he will select people. They are good to help you also. During radiation therapy, I am very fine. Yeah, I get it mild, vomited, mild low appetite, but I can continuously my life normally. Actually, I receive radiation therapy 3 days, 2 doses with 7-hour interval in between, then chemotherapy. And I am not get any side effect, which like chest pain, like numbness in the body, like irritating in the skin, dryness, all that I am not get it. Yes, doctor?
So I'm very happy. By God's grace, they give you what is good for you, or the best for you anywhere in the world. We're happy you came here, and we wish you normal life. And we are very, very happy because you belong to our profession. Yes. Medical profession. So our additional good wishes to you and good health, and God bless you.
Thank you. Actually, greatly thanks to multiple one. At the first, I'm thanking Allah. He gave me this disease and he gave me this chance to know something in the life and to be more strong and more positive person. I thank Apollo Hospital. They are taking care of me, especially Dr. Ghoz and his team, and the Proton Center, all their family, they are also cooperative with me. I thank my family, they are supporting me too much. And I thank also one of my colleagues who is, since my diagnosis, he is become with me and pushing me to be more positive and more strong. Thank you a lot. If I want to thank anyone, I will not finish it till morning. Also, I thank my government because they are taking my condition seriously and not delayed me to receive the treatment.
That was very important. I think Uman Shimar, the decision taken by our government to send you so soon before other complications set in. Thank you. Have any questions?
Any questions?
impressive. You spoke very well. You spoke from your heart.
Photographer.
I am very happy today because the government of Oman, when one of their nurse had been diagnosed with myeloid leukemia, they said the treatment can be given only at Apollo. You go to So as I was saying, I must compliment the government of Oman. When one of the nursing staff has been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, they said the only way that you can get well is to go to Apollo Hospital in Chennai. I thank them for the confidence they have placed in us. This is the confidence that people from India and over 100 countries have in what we have done in the last 35 years. In almost all disciplines, we are doing anything that's happening anywhere in the world. And today Dr. Jose clearly explained, he'll probably answer you again, that this could have been done in the routine manner by giving total body irradiation with complications in the occurring because of other organs being affected, or selectively irradiating only the bone marrow. So I think it's as he mentioned, this is the third country in the world. US, Italy has done, and now in India we have done. This is where I think I'm very happy. First, I congratulate the team at Apollo who have geared to bring the world's best care for our people in everything we have done, and I think oncology now is very important. I've also mentioned earlier that oncology belongs to one of those tsunami groups. The World Bank said the NCDs, diabetes, heart, strokes, cancer and infections will cause 80% of the deaths, and the cost effect will be $30 trillion for the world and $4.8 trillion for India. You know what $4.8 trillion means? It means nearly 50% of the GDP. Can you afford to spend 50% of the GDP? You know, we are now asking them to spend 3% of the GDP to execute those schemes. But all these 4 diseases are curable, and they are curable only with your cooperation. You must bring to their attention, you please go to your doctor or go to Apollo or like institutions where they will assess your state of health. And then if you have a diagnosed disease early, you can cure them. Cancers are curable. Heart attacks at early age is preventable. Diabetes can be controlled and will not cause complications. Respiratory infections, if you take proper care, you will not suffer and have complications of respiratory infections affecting the other organs. So I think we have well understood. We believe continuously we brought in better and newer technologies to give our team. It is not the equipment can't do a thing, but it's the doctor who makes a difference. but he needs the tools that are required to be able to give what is being given to any patient for any disease, any part of the world. God, I'm proud of them. They are not only doing all of these, they are training even doctors in some disciplines. You know, in cancer rectum, people from London are coming to get trained with robotic surgery at Apollo Chennai. Similarly, in heart, we are training people across the world. So I'm very happy that my origin takes me back 35 years ago when I lost that young man because there was no heart surgery program in the country. Today, we can proudly say India today has the best healthcare facility, but also has a huge threat from this so-called NCDs, and the threat is not a small threat, it is a tsunami-like threat. So we must all go on a war footing, and you, us, government, or public, private, and the media. Media can play a very important role in bringing people the attention, saying, find out. Why should a marathon runner drop dead? Because he never assessed his health. So I'll give it to my colleagues to say.
Is this a one-time treatment? What happens? I mean, this is like forever. She's cured completely. Does she have to come back again? And in case of review, where would she go? I mean, does she have to come back to Apollo, or can she get it done this month?
See, one of the first objectives in cancer can be cure the disease. So in her case, she had chronic myeloid leukemia in the 3rd stage, which was a biphenotypic leukemia. So transplant was a curative procedure for her. But then these survivors, in the long run, they have added complications. For example, they could develop cataract or thyroid or lung problem or heart problem or kidney. So that is the long-term quality of life should be like a normal person once they are cured. So that was the objective of doing this technique, total marrow irradiation. So we had different quality checks. Day 30, how is she doing? So we'll send questionnaires. She will go back to the transplant team in Oman. So Oman also is doing transplants. And there is a day 100 questionnaire would be sent. And obviously they will be reviewing her every week for the first 3 to 6 months. And periodic checkups, how well she does, we would be informed. So we want people who survive cancer to lead a normal life. That's the objective, rather than getting crippled and being cured.
So would this also mean that you will give her a 5-year window period before you declare her as cured?
Yeah, she will be monitored every 3 to 6 months, and she has at least a 50% chance that she'll be cured.
Honorable Chairman, DC ma'am, and dear doctors, and friends from our media.